You're not tempted, Miss Lamb?
I prefer to keep my feet on the ground.
No, I don't believe that. I think you would soar to the heavens. It's your jailers that keep you tethered.
Mary is not my jailer. She's my friend.
Mary have spoken to Georgiana already, especially about Lockhart, and she told her why she didn't like Lockhart for some reason. Georgiana doesn't have to always agree with what Mary tells her, but she has respect for Mary, and she still listen to her, especially in those girl talk about, guys and future marriage. But now we get to see Lockhart picking up a vibe from the Parker family, especially Mary. He look over to where Mary was standing. He's like, the way that you are, Georgiana, is because you're being held hostage by the Parker family, specifically Mary. So maybe Lockhart had that sense Mary doesn't like him. And, of course, you can feel it. You can pick up on vibe when, people don't like you. So Georgiana, that was nice of her to stand up for Mary. But like I said, Georgiana doesn't always have to agree with everything that Mary said to her, especially about Lockhart, but she still respects Mary.
Really? Seems to me like you're hemmed in on all sides. I don't know how you can bear it.
And Georgiana is still under the supervision of the Parker family. So, technically, she cannot be free yet until she get married, but Lockhart is just trying to push Georgiana to step out of her comfort zone and just rule her own life and do whatever she wants to do. And this is maybe a foreshadow of what to come for the rest of the season, that conflict, that battle, tug of war with Georgiana in the middle between Mary and Lockhart. And, you want to impress, your parents, even though Mary is not her actual mom, but at the same time, she's really interested in Lockhart, and she's just trying to figure out, should I follow my head or should I follow my heart? So I think this would become an interesting storyline for the rest of the season. I mean, maybe Lockhart is speaking some truth about Georgiana's life, but at the end of the day, it's her life, right? It's her choice. She have to make the choice for her future and for herself, what she wants in life. But I think she never had a friend that is very opinionated, very open, outspoken, very honest about what he is thinking about a certain situation or in general his viewpoint in life. He's very brutally honest, bluntly honest with her. I think he's a different guy. I think she never met a guy like him. So at the same time, she's getting to know him, learning about him, and also, while that, she trying to figure out, what she wants to do in life. And I think she never had someone that pushed her so much to just be free from all the standards and expectations from society. She never had a friend like Lockhart, and I think that's one of the reasons why she became interested in him and wanted to spend more time with him.
It's like a dream. I feel as if I were flying.
Is it too late to mention I'm not enamored of heights?
Fears are there to be conquered.
Hona Leonard, she has a fear of height. I think it was obvious before he said that when they first started to ascend into air. He was looking down so nervously, and Charlotte was laughing, enjoying this ride. But I did like how Charlotte counter attack his statement. He was I'm afraid of heights, but she's fears are there to be conquered. So I mean, that's a great wisdom. You can conquer your fears, overcome it. I thought that was a nice, not only viewpoint, but a nice advice back to him. Hey, you're doing it right now. You're conquering your fears. You did it.
You are quite unlike any woman I've ever met, Miss Hayward.
And then that look he gave her, he really falling for her, and she kind of like, stumbled back a little bit. She wasn't ready to hear that from him. She knew, with the vibes within the moment, she was like, do I really want to be in this situation right now? I think she just like had a lot in mind in that moment, like with him saying that, and I think of course what happened at her job today with Mr. Heybourne and his, and him giving the hornflowers to Charlotte, and now Charlotte with Lennox, and he's saying that to her. I think it's just like overwhelming her mind in this moment, and she just didn't know what to say. With the intensity in this scene between Lennox and Charlotte definitely increased after what just happened just now. Those looks, and of course she falling into his arm and him like being a protector for her. Things are getting a little bit heated between these two.
I should tell you, I think I have agreed a truce with my charges. And perhaps even with their father.
Their father?
He did not like the sound of like a mention of Mr. Heybourne's name. So there's something going on between him and Mr. Heybourne, or maybe he knows something about Charlotte Fox that she doesn't know yet. That doesn't look good.
It seems Mr. Colburn is a better man than I had given him credit for. I believe he is just grieving his late wife.
Charlotte has come to an understanding of Mr. Heybourne, I guess. Again, like I said in the last video, I think that picnic moment with that family of Charlotte was a turning point with everyone involved in that scene. And I think it was a turning point for Charlotte too. She's like, I can see that potential future happiness for the family, like they can be, close to one another, and he can be a better father and uncle to them. Like she saw that potential of a happy future as a family, and she knows that Mr. Heybourne loves these kids, but even though he's been really busy with work and doesn't spend much time, he had that capacity to love on these kids and support them and be the guide and example in life. So with that, she came to that understanding, like, okay, maybe he's not really that bad guy, or maybe he's not as bad as people talk about him, gossip about him back in the city of Sanditon. She just like saw this other side of him that no one really like see or understand, and she's like, okay, maybe you a good man and you just grieving the loss of your wife, and you went through so much and you need the time and space to step away from society and just focus on you and your family and this home. Charlotte is very graceful and patient with the family, and at the end of the day, after that picnic, she definitely had that understanding now, and she had that full picture of who is the family and why they so quiet and away from society, and she felt the pain and the sadness in the family, and she gave them the grace and the patience to just be themselves, and and not make happy sound and have a dead house like with no piano. But ever since she stepped into the house, she played those piano, and they have that picnic. They spent a lot of time fresh air, and Leonora, she helped out with those entertainment, making noises throughout the house, running around in the yard and in the house. So with Charlotte being there, it was the starting point of everything changing for the good for the family.
From the moment we met, you have spoken to me with candour. I fear I have not paid the courtesy. It's against my nature to impugn another man's character, but I must warn you to be on your guard against Mr. Colburn.
I know most of us already watched season 2, but from a first-time viewer perspective, he sounded really concerned for her. Like, he really said that with a pure heart, a pure intention, like he really watching out for her as a friend. And Charlotte, the look on her face, she's like, oh boy, why are you telling me this now?
Why?
Please just take my word.
With respect, you cannot warn me on such strong terms without evidence.
And at the same time, like, she already made up that impression. She's like, Mr. Holborn, like, he's just grieving his wife, just let him be, like, give him the grace in the room to just, to grieve and just be himself, like, no pressure. And now Lennox is telling her this, and that would cause conflict for her and be like, okay, like, is Lennox, telling the truth, or maybe he doesn't understand the whole story about Mr. Holborn. So it's kind of like, it's like twisting around a little bit, like it's changing her perspective on Mr. Holborn.
Some years ago, there was a young lady who meant a very great deal to me.
Alright, Charlotte made a good point. She's like, I mean, first of all, like, he just, like, blurting this out to her right now, right? Like, why he didn't tell her sooner. But he made a good point. Like, he didn't want to overstep in her work relationship with Mr. Holborn, and he just, didn't want to talk bad about him to her in public. But anyway, good point. Like, how can I trust you? They're still getting to know each other, Lennox and Charlotte. So she's just like, why are you telling me this? Like, how can you prove it to me?
She had a fierce, bright spirit, not unlike your own. Her name was Lucy.
His wife.
So Holborn, late wife, is now, like, involved in the situation. If I was Charlotte, I'd be like, should I know this or should I not know this? It can influence her, relationship with Holborn, and, what Lennox is telling her. She's like, okay, like, who, did they steal first? Like, Holborn was with Lucy first, and then Lucy went to Lennox, right? Or was Lucy with Lennox first, and then she went to Holborn? So it's kind of like a love triangle situation, like who were with her first, and who stole her first, you know what I mean? So if I was Charlotte, it's kind of like trying to match the puzzle to get the full picture of what's really going on.
Colburn stole her from me, Miss Hayward. And then, for reasons I do not comprehend, he destroyed her.
And from the way that Lennox is explaining the story, it sounded like, Lennox is innocent and Mr. Holborn is not. So it sounded like Lucy was with Lennox first, and then Holborn stole her somehow.
I believe he needs his mother. Will you take him?
Later, perhaps.
Esther lost a baby a few months ago, right? And now she's holding this baby, this half step nephew, and she picturing herself to be like a mom. And she missed that opportunity when her daughter died, and she wished she longed to be a mom again. And she had that motherly nature about her, like she easily carrying that baby in her arms. She tried to give the baby back to Clara, but it looks like Clara went through some trauma during childbirth. Clara, hopefully she doesn't neglect the baby down the road, but maybe she just needs rest, needs some mental break from the childbirth. It was her first time being pregnant and going through that childbirth, and that labor, it looked intense earlier before she gave birth. maybe this would be a friendship opportunity for these two women. Esther seemed to, you know, be very caring toward this baby, even though it's not her own kid. Maybe she will be there for Clara and support her as the new mom and help her to raise this child. It's an interesting way of how life works sometimes, you know, like when you losing, grieving the loss of your baby, especially stillborn baby, like it's tough to move on, and then you see someone else pregnant and give birth and you holding their baby but it's not your own. That's a mental battle to go through, and that's what definitely Esther going through right now. But at the same time, she is being nice. I mean, she's watching the baby for free.
You will paint my portrait on my terms. If I am satisfied, you may name your price.
I shall not rest until we are both satisfied. Miss Lamb. Are you alone?
Okay, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing when he asked her if she was alone.
Yes.
Would you like to come in?
Good evening, Mr. Lockhart.
Harry and Miss Hankin wasn't like that. He definitely wanted to draw Georgiana again with no adult supervision around. It's kind of like interesting though, like I know she tempted to go in, but she's like messing with him a little bit, like playing a little game like, no, maybe next time. We'll see how that post-session goes. But this definitely shows that Georgiana is opening up to him much more. I mean, you know, having him draw her picture again, I mean, that's very vulnerable and very open.
I'm told you showed great courage at Bidassoa. Remarkable given how young you must have been.
Yeah, Fraser, he was serious about what he just said to Carter. He's very protective of Allison, regardless of his feeling for Allison. He's very protective of her as a friend.
Fraser, she deserves better. Set her straight.
Allison is still clueless about this, but good for Fraser. Like, you know, it could happen the other way around. So, like, Fraser could have like told Allison on the spot and make Carter look back, right? But he giving Carter the grace and like the second chance to make it right. And you know, that's a good friend that he is to both Allison and Carter. It's like, this is your own stuff, like you deal with it, like you make it right with her. Like that's what a true friend, a true boyfriend should be. Like, be honest and own up to your mistakes, to your lies, and make it right with the girl. We'll see if he does that, but I think he didn't like how Fraser confronted him. But I'm glad that Allison told Fraser about that battle story that Carter said, because if she didn't, you know, the lie could have been, you know, continued even longer, and Allison would have gotten hurt much more deeper.
Personal tribute from the Colonel himself. I'm not sure you've come down to earth since.
Still trying to make sense of it.
Cornflowers? Where did you find them?
Leonard gave a bouquet of flowers to Charlotte before the fair, and she arranging them in that vase. And usually when a guy gives you flowers, this means a sign of admiration, like a guy likes you, like interested in you. And what happened at the fair today, it definitely stirred something inside of Charlotte, and it might change her outlook in her impression on Lennox and Mr. Heybourne, and the possibility that, you know, maybe there'll be a love triangle, you know. Lennox seemed to be a nice guy so far, but, you know, he gave her a bombshell information about Heybourne, but she had a great day at work, and she had a great day with the kids and Heybourne, and, you know, it was just a big turning point ever since the first day of her job. She's just like, wow, like things are really good at my work now.
Mr. Colburn's estate.
Allison might have known already that Charlotte's favorite flowers are cornflowers. So Allison was like, you know, standing behind Charlotte with a smile on her face. She's like, oh, like, you know, that's so pretty. Like, I know that's your favorite. And Charlotte was like, kind of like, dozed off. Like, she just like not herself in the moment. Like, she was thinking of someone else or of someone. And then she's like, yeah, I found it, you know, at my job. Like, she didn't want to tell Allison the whole story. I think she's not ready to tell Allison that maybe something inside of her, you know, still up in regard to her relationship with Mr. Heybourne. I think that cornflowers represent something to her. Like, it has like a deep meaning. Like, not only it's her favorite flower, but it's just that moment of Mr. Heybourne giving her favorite flower to her. I think it was just so romantic, very sweet, very casual, just like easygoing, and she loved it. Like, she loved the gesture that he did to her. We end the episode with that look on Charlotte's face and that look of like deciding what to do. Like, should she listen to her heart or her head? Should she listen to Lennox or not? After what he told her about Lucy and how Mr. Heybourne stole her from Lennox. And who knows if Lennox gossiped about Heybourne like in the bad way with other people, you know? Like, there always two sides to every story. It's just a matter of which side is true. And now, you know, we hear from Lennox's side. Now we wait for Heybourne's side to this story and see, you know, who's telling the truth or not. But we haven't get there yet. But for now, she's just conflicted. You know, she likes both guys. Like, she enjoyed her conversation with Lennox. But I don't think she interested in Lennox. But I think there was something new, something fresh. Something unexpected that happened with her and Mr. Heybourne, especially after that cornflowers gesture that he did to her. Maybe she felt something that she never felt before and something that she did not expect. And I think it stuck with her until that scene at night, and she, you know, holding on to those cornflowers, and, you know, she could have like thrown away those cornflowers, you know, but she kept it. So it means something. And, you know, Lennox got her, you know, a bigger bouquet. And also, I just realized that bouquet that Lennox gave her, like, so it's a bunch of flowers and stuff, like, you know, it's a grand gesture, like, it's big. But the cornflower is just like a much more smaller gift. But it means more to her in this moment, and not, you know, every gift has to be big or a lot of money or, you know, time consuming. It can be, you know, a simple gift that can make a person's heart happy. So that's an interesting comparison. A really fun episode to talk about, I would say. An interesting turning point in episode 3, I would say, definitely for Mr. Heybourne.